cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut. Welcome to the top cut.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into today's episode of the Top Cut Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. My name is Sunny. I am your host. I'm here with my co-host, Caleb.
Hello.
And, of course, before we get too far in, we do want to, of course, thank the patrons. So, a huge thank you to Cam Yang. Listen, we thought about this next name a while, and we decided that we can say it. I went over it with our PR team. We're good. If you gaslight hard enough, MST is a negate. Okay, now I know your initial reaction might be, that's terrible. And you're right, but it's also funny, so...
But I mean, it's also kind of factually true, because if you MST a continuous spell, a continuous trap, or a field spell, it is technically a negate.
No. It stops the card from resolving. That doesn't make it a negate per se.
But I mean, isn't negating something just keeping it from resolving?
It would say negate that effect on the card.
I mean, I'm making a joke.
The point is... Hey, quit gaslighting me into thinking MST is a negate. Stop that. Okay, anyway. Austin Johnson, Kane Martin, Gate Guardian Support, HGH Cyber, Josh Rosen, Marshawn Jones, Zephyrus, Yeet the Feet, Zephyrus AD, Anthony Leela, Blackwing Silverwind the Ascendant is a Floodgate, Branded Fart, Damian Zink, Dank, Nugs, Earth Machine Best Deck. Here, Caleb, hold this L while I tin-dangle these nuts up on your chin. P.S. Justice for Sunny.
What did I do?
You gaslit me into thinking MST was a negate. That's what you did.
But no, like, somebody would have to have made up this name before that. What did I do?
I don't know, but I'm sure you deserve it for some reason.
Probably.
All I know is that's pretty targeted. That's targeted. You did something to somebody.
I mean, obviously it's targeted. They call me out by name.
I am McLincoln, Mountain Man, Oatmeal Spaghetti, Owen Alvarado, Pig, Rudolph, Tearlament, Sprite. Wake up, bro. We gotta leave for Edison.
Oh my god.
The Hoover Dam is a floodgate. Tindangled these nuts, haha, got him. Unbanned number 95, Konami. Understanding and reading are two different things. Virtually Savior's World, Zingis Khan, Aaron Gardner. Appaloosa episode inbound. Appaloosa is the one true floodgate. Asami. Demolition Beaver, the floodgate destroyer. Dragon Maidenless Behavior, amazing. Jerry Beans, man. Nordic Best Deck, Old Man Red, Pin Code 143, Praise be to Mystic Mine, our Lord and Savior, Ray Powell, Shockmaster did nothing wrong, Slaking it up, Stank Taters. Wait, what? There's no way I can legally say that. Alright, thank you all so much for your continued support of the podcast. Now, if you would like to become a patron, you can find the link down below. And if you don't want to become a patron, but you still want to support the podcast at no extra cost to yourself, you can always do that a couple of different ways. You can, of course, check out our TCG Player affiliate link in the description down below. And you can also check out the affiliate link to Dragon Shield. Dragon Shield is, of course, one of the largest TCG and card game accessory manufacturers in the world. Dragon Shield makes you all of the best sleeves, deck boxes, playmats, binders, or they call them portfolios, I think, on the website. But in general, they have high quality products of all of these wonderful things. They have cool designs. They have great colors. Be sure to check out Dragon Shield. In fact, speaking of great designs and colors, they're introducing a couple of new ones.
Mm-hmm.
If you check out it should be on their website by now. If not, you can find it on various creators' Twitter accounts. They're releasing a design called Bolt Reaper. They're releasing two solid colors, which are Ruby and Sapphire.
Which are Ruby and Sapphire, of course, red and blue, respectively, with little tiny flecks of, like, silver.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't looked at them super close yet.
Yeah, I saw them somewhere. I saw them on a website, and I was like, oh, that looks beautiful.
Nice.
I can't wait to be able to get them and use them.
Yeah, for sure. So if you're interested in that, be sure to go ahead and use our TCG or Dragon Shield affiliate link, which is also down below. And last but not least at all, we want to, of course, make sure that you check out Millennium Threads. Millennium Threads is an Etsy shop. They do custom embroidery work, mostly all Yu-Gi-Oh related things. And you can get Yu-Gi-Oh embroidered hoodies, hats, t-shirts, etc. And they are very fairly priced for something that is embroidered and made to order. So I know that you might look at the prices and think that they're on the high end, but I promise you, for the quality of product that you're getting, if you compare to other custom embroidery, it is absolutely worth every penny and pretty competitively priced.
I personally don't think that they're charging enough. Me personally.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If I'm gonna be honest with you, I think that the pricing is like beyond fair to the point of they might charge more. But I have heard people talk about pricing, but it's not an issue to me. So if you're interested in any of those, you can check them all out in the description down below, as well as if you're on Apple or Spotify, be sure to go ahead and follow the podcast, subscribe to the podcast. If you're on YouTube, leave us a rating or review. It helps us out tremendously. And of course, let's go ahead and get on into the main segments. What do you say?
Oh, yeah.
So we do have a little bit of quick play news we want to hit on before we get too far in. Let's talk about the newly announced structure deck here for the TCG. So
that's right. We're getting the Dark World structure deck.
No. It's an entire structure deck just based around Dark Ruler no more.
Totally. Like a whole new archetypal support for Dark Ruler. That's entire shtick is just searching out Dark Ruler no more.
And then negating your opponent's stuff at quick play speed.
Yeah. But no, in all actuality, we are getting the Dark World structure deck with with the Grapha retrain as a fusion monster, all kinds of really cool stuff.
So the set size is 45 cards. The official launch date is November 30th, 2022. That's the OTS launch date, and the actual launch date is December 2nd.
Ooh, just in time for Christmas.
Yep, and the Konami tournament legal date is also December 2nd. Darkness returns this winter with the brand new structure deck Dark World. Grapha, Dragonlord of Dark World, first debuted in the game-shaking structure deck Gates of the Underworld, and its return is now nigh. Structure deck Dark World brings this notorious theme back to the human world with a slew of new features. Here's some of what you can expect. Rainbow, Overlord of Dark World, has received a promotion. This new form of Rainbow, level 8 monster with 3000 attack, can special summon itself from the graveyard simply by returning a level 7 or lower Dark World monster from the field to your hand. If it is discarded to the graveyard, you can add a level 5 or higher Dark World monster from your deck to your hand, and if it was opponent forced you to discard, watch out, because Rainbow isn't the only one who's been waiting for this day for over a decade. The Great Dragon Lord Grapha has a brand new form as well. The new Grapha is a fusion monster summoned using Grapha, Dragon Lord of Dark World, and any other dark monster. You can special summon it with a new spell card that lets you fusion summon by discarding cards, triggering the effects of any Dark World monsters used, as well as powerful other dark monsters like the Danger monsters. While this new fusion monster is on the field, you can hijack an opponent's normal spell trap card or monster effect, turning it into a discard effect that unleashes your Dark World monster's true power. This new structure deck is playable right out of the box. The Dark World army awaits you. Each structure deck contains 5 ultra rare cards, 3 super rare cards, 37 common cards, 1 double-sided deluxe game mat or dueling guide. Name and contents are subject to change. I think that we both love the Dark World theme and the Dark World archetype. It was
that I remember that structure deck came out. That was like
me too, yeah.
Yeah, that's like one of the first structure decks I remember buying 3 of, just because it was such a cool concept.
Right. Yeah, I remember that too pretty vividly. And it came out of the gate swinging. It won YCS Long Beach at that time, which I believe was the 150th YCS, maybe?
Something like that, yeah.
Or the 100th YCS, even? I think it was the 100th.
Something like that. It was a major YCS milestone.
Right. Yeah, I remember pretty specifically, though, that structure deck coming out to some really, really strong... What's the word I'm looking for? Opinions from the player base.
Oh, yeah. In particular, because it also got this reputation of kind of being a solitaire deck.
Yeah.
Because you just kind of sat there and played solitaire while your opponent watched you on occasion would draw one and then discard one.
Yeah, this deck is going to be... I think that all of the new structure deck cards, from what we've read from the OCG reveals of these cards, they're going to be very, very good.
Especially the fusion, because as they said, it quote unquote hijacks your opponent's card effects. It's a negate without being a negate.
Right.
Because it doesn't actually negate, it just makes the effect after your opponent pays the cost of the effect. You go, cool. The effect is now you make me discard a card.
Right.
Thanks.
And because I think it makes it to where that was your opponent's card effect, you get double effects off of it.
Correct. Because your opponent was what made you discard it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is a crazy deck. And honestly, I think that we're going to see reprints of a lot of the danger monsters in this deck.
Oh, that'd be really cool. Going for just straight up good old Danger Dark World. We weren't even in the game at that point.
Yeah, to me, it would be the way to go with this deck, in my opinion. So, but I think that it's time to get into some new cards. What do you say?
Oh yeah.
So these are the imports and world premieres from Power of the Elements. Do you want to start with the first one?
Yeah, sure. So, to start with, we have... Well, it's a synchro we already knew about and we've already talked about. So do you want to just skip Fish of the Deep Beyond?
Well, no. I was talking about Vanguard of the Underground Emperor is where we were starting.
Okay. Actually, I don't think
we're going to come back to the fish stuff.
I don't have that tab open. Mind sending it to me?
Sure.
Because I was stupid and closed that tab on my phone. Whoops!
It happens to the best of us. And this is happening live because we don't know what editing is. Editing is for the weak.
I mean, I'm going to be editing this until like probably 3 a.m.
True.
Okay, so first off...
That means you're the weak.
Where all the Amazonist women at? Come on, Yu-Gi-Oh! Organization. You're better than that. Alright, Vanguard of the Underground Emperor. Level 8 Earth Reptile Effect Monster. Oh, it's terrible. It's a reptile. 2600 attack, 2200 defense. If a monster is sent from the hand to the graveyard while this card is in your graveyard, except in the damage step, you can special summon this card, but place it on the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field. You can only use this effect of Vanguard of the Underground Emperor once per turn. It's not terrible.
You could dump it with Snake's Rain.
Yeah. Then you could in Dark World, it gives you a free level 8 because then you discard something that's discarded and just special summons itself and blah 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 blah.
Actually, it is a really good card for Dark World.
Yeah, because it lets them pump out level rank 8 exceeds a lot easier.
Yes. Next we have Pit Knight Early. Level 2 Fire Cyberse Link Effect Monster, 1500 attack. Link arrows are upper right and right. Materials is 2 effect monsters. When a monster this card points to activates its effect, except during damage step, quick effect, you can target one effect monster your opponent controls. Until the end of this turn, change its attack to 0. Also negate its effects. During the main phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was destroyed by battle or card effect and sent there this turn, you can special summon this card. You can only use each effect of Pit Knight Early once per turn. This is pretty good.
It's solid.
Yeah, the only issue is that your opponent has to knowingly summon to a zone that it points to.
Yeah.
But still cool.
Which I think it might actually be possible to kind of force them to.
Yeah, I think that is possible.
Yeah, but I mean, it's going to be real difficult.
Alright, next is your card.
Nemesis Elephant. Normal trap. Special summon this card as an effect monster. It's a level 2 beast with 2000 defense, 0 attack. This card is also still a trap. If this card is in the monster zone, quick effect, you can declare one type and one attribute, then target one face-up card on the field. It becomes that type and attribute until the end of this turn. You can only use this effect of Nemesis Elephant once per turn. Terrible.
It is indeed terrible, yes.
But it's a level 2 trap monster, for what it's worth.
Which is nothing. It's worth nothing.
Yeah, no, it's not a Eldritch trap monster, so who cares?
Yeah. Alright, next we have the new cards that everybody's been waiting to hear us talk about. The Fish deck. So, first card is all you, homie.
Alright, cool. So are we skipping the one we've already talked about, or...
Let's just go over it again just to remind everybody what the archetype is about.
So the very first card we got of the archetype was Fish of the Great Beyond. Keep in mind that fish, in this case, is spelled Ghoti.
I think they did a reveal video where they pronounced it Goatee.
But
yeah, I know.
But that's
antithetical to the entire purpose of the meme that they named it after.
Okay, in that case, I will be calling it Goatee from now on.
I'm still gonna call it fish.
So am I. But for this, I'm gonna call it Goatee. Goatee of the Deep Beyond, level 10 water fish synchro monster. This is question mark attack, 0 defense. Materials: 1 or more fish tuners and 1 or more non-tuner monsters. The original attack of this card becomes 500 times the number of banished monsters. If this card is synchro summoned during your opponent's turn, you can banish all cards on the field. During the standby phase, the next turn after this card was banished from the monster zone, you can special summon this card. You can special summon this banished card. Note, this card, and by extension, the entire theme derive their names from Goatee, a respelling of fish meant to show the absurdity of lingual rules of the English language.
Yep. Alright, next we have Moray of Avarice.
Not a Goatee card, but still Goatee adjacent.
Yeah. This is a normal spell card. Banish 1 face-up fish, sea serpent, or aqua monster you control. Draw 2 cards. You can only activate 1 Moray of Avarice per turn.
It's pretty good.
It's a play on Pot of Avarice and Moray of Greed.
Yeah, it's a Moray that's living in the Pot of Avarice, kind of like how Moray of Greed was a Moray.
Right.
Yeah. Next up, we have POTE. POTE, Slide of the Goatee, because it sounds cool. Level 2 water fish tuner, 0 attack and defense. You can banish this card you control, special summon a fish monster from your hand, except another copy of itself. During the standby phase, the next turn after this card was banned, you can special summon this banished card. To your opponent's main phase, if this card were special summoned this turn, you can quick effect. Immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon a fish synchro monster using this card you control. You can only use each effect of this card once per turn. No, this card is an anagram of space.
That's crazy.
So, you can banish it, special summon a fish monster, or you can Moray of Avarice it, banish it. And then during the standby phase, it gets special summoned, and then during their main phase, you can pop off.
Yeah. Alright, next we have Sheaf Fairy of the Goatee.
Which is an anagram of fish.
Of course it is. Level 2 water fish tuner effect monster. What a non-tuner's that though. Attack 0, defense 500. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 fish monster you control. It gains 500 attack until the end of this turn. During the standby phase of the next turn after this card was banished, you can special summon this banished card. During your opponent's main phase, if this card was special summoned this turn, you can, quick effect, immediately after this card resolves, special summon 1 fish synchro monster using this card you control. You can only use each effect once per turn.
Interesting.
So pretty similar,
Yeah.
but not quite the same.
Enoch, Sentry of the Goatee. Oh, it's Ocean. Level 6 water fish effect monster. Oh, here's the non-tuner.
Yeah.
2100 attack, 0 defense. If this card is normal or special, it's level 6. You can target one of your banished level 4 or lower monsters. Special summon it in defense position, but negate its effects. You can banish 1 fish monster from your hand or face-up field, add a Goatee trap card from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. Interesting. So, normal summon Paches, I guess. Whatever. I'll call him Pache because it sounds cool. Normal summon Pache, banish Pache, special Enoch. Enoch brings back Pache, and you get a trap
Yes.
by banishing like Schiff, and then Synchro 8. Your opponent standby, Schiff revives, Synchro 10.
I'm glad that you can come up with all these combo lines just in your dome like that, because I cannot. But this is also cool. These monsters synergize very well with White Ore Whale as well.
Yes, White Ore Whale, and of course their boss monster himself.
Right. Next we have Askan, the bicorn Goatee, a anagram of Sakana, which is the Japanese word for fish. Level 8 water fish synchro effect monster.
There's the level 8.
Yep. 2,700 attack, 0 defense. Materials, 1 tuner, 1 or more non-tuner monsters. If this card is synchro summoned, you can target 1 fish monster you control and 1 card your opponent controls. Banish them. If this card is banished, you can banish 1 fish monster from your graveyard. Special summon this card. You can only use each effect of Ascan the Bicorn Goatee once per turn.
Oh, so something else you can do is with literally just POTE, normal summon POTE, banish it to special summon the other fish. The other fish, level 6 one, special summons POTE, you get a trap. Synchronate in this guy, effect to banish himself and something your opponent controls.
Right, it's like Yazi, but worse.
And then banish the POTE again to spree special summon himself.
Actually,
and then
it doesn't destroy it, banishes, which is interesting.
yeah, and then next turn, POTE revives itself because it was banished, and then during your opponent's main phase, you can synchro summon into the boss monster.
Right.
And that's literally just POTE and level 6 in hand.
Nice.
It can just set up the boss monster in under 5 summons.
Yep. Next we have the Moist, Distant, Deepest Depths.
It's not moist. It's the most distance, deepest
I
depths.
swear I see that as moist for some reason.
So do I.
Every time.
I have to like double look at the word most because everything's water themed.
Right. The Most Distant, Deepest Depths, which is a cool card name. Not as funny as moist, but still cool. Field spell card. While you control a fish synchro monster, this card cannot be destroyed or banished by card effects. So it's immune to twin and cosmic.
Jesus.
You can only use each of the following effects of the... I almost said moist again. The Most Distant, Deepest Depths once per turn. You can banish 1 fish monster from your hand or grave. Add 1 Goatee monster from your deck to your hand. If a fish monster or monsters is normal or special summoned to your field while this card is in your graveyard, except during the Nemesis step, you can target 1 fish monster you control, banish it, and if you do, add this card to your hand. Broken. That's really crazy in this strat.
Oh my god. Yeah, like this whole strategy so far is really good. But it feels like B-Trooper where it's missing pieces. So let's hope it actually gets those pieces, unlike what B-Trooper got.
Yeah, B-Trooper got sadness.
But like this feels really good to just deck like this entire engine just feels really good to just deck into shark decks.
Potentially, yes.
Because I think all the shark monsters are all fishes, so
I think some of them are aquas.
Yeah. So now we're actually into the trap cards. For the one trap card we have right now, Goatee Chain, a normal trap card. Banish a face-up fish monster you control, special summon one of your Goatee monsters that is banished on your hand deck or graveyard with a different original name for the monster banished to activate this effect. But banish it when this card leaves the field. Oh, I get it. So let's say you activate the quick effect of your
any of them.
POTE, let's just say.
Sure.
And they Veiler or Imperm or whatever. They stop its effect from activating so that we can't synchro summon. You go, oh no, activate this, special summon the other one, activate effect to synchro summon again.
The issue is that it's a trap.
Yeah, but you would set, it's a searchable trap that you then set, and it gives you, then your opponent has to deal with both.
I think it's meant to work similarly to a Tri-Brigade Revolt.
Maybe?
Where it basically enables you to perform the summon on your opponent's turn. And as such, allows you to interruptions based off of that.
But you can already do it on your opponent's turn. Oh, I see what you can.
This gets the monsters, it special summons the monster, and forces the interaction.
Ah, and then your opponent's got to either deal with the thing you just summoned, or, and like, let's just say you just go through the normal summon line, and you have the POTE, they either stop the POTE, or they stop the other thing you summon.
Right.
Which, is most likely going to be like another copy of, Also, it just says summon a fish.
Yeah. Realistically, these are pretty solid cards.
Never mind. Banish the fish. Special summon a Goatee monster.
These are pretty solid cards. I'm not the biggest fan of them making every water archetype fish, it feels like, but... Well, fish, aqua, sea serpent, but you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, right now, the number one water deck is Cyberse, so...
Just because you made a good point doesn't mean I agree. No, but I had this conversation with somebody today. I wish that they would change the wind attribute to have more things that aren't birds. Somebody came up with a great idea for water where it's a steampunk based archetype.
Oh, like a steam archetype. Well,
yes, basically.
The way I would do it is it's like a bunch of main deck, like water and wind monsters that are just like various typings, warrior for one, spellcast for another one, whatever. But then their extra deck monsters are all aqua wind.
I think machine waters would be cooler.
Yeah. Or
we'll let Konami work out the actual typings.
Yeah. That's one of those things where we're not like,
well, not experts or anything.
No, not at all.
All right, let's take just a moment to talk about ETB Games. ETB is, of course, our locals in Alexandria, Louisiana, and they are your one-stop shop for all of your card game needs. They have singles and sealed product, deck boxes, sleeves, binders, playmats, etc. for all of the card games that you love, like Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and Magic the Gathering. They also have a wonderful selection of figurines and paint for those figurines, as well as books and everything that you need for tabletop games such as D&D, Warhammer, I'm trying Pathfinder.
Yeah.
I'll think of more. I promise. I'll get there.
There's really not a whole lot more mini games as far as I'm aware of.
But you can get stuff for those.
Yeah.
They also have a wonderful spot to go and play some video games or whatever you want to do. So if you're interested, check out ETB Games. Their link is in the description down below. Now, let's get on into our real main topic for today.
Heck yeah.
So we switched over to the mailbag version of instead of the podcast question of the day, we're doing the mailbag. Now, the mailbag is kind of cool because it does a couple of things. It not only allows us to answer your burning questions.
Yeah, it also gives us a more interaction with, well, you guys, the listener base.
Right. And the other thing that it does, though, is it allows us to see what is truly on your minds the most prevalently. So, for example, we saw a lot of questions this go-around over on Twitter that were all targeted towards, well, how would you fix the game? How would you fix this? How would you do this? And
which are all very good, valid questions.
Absolutely.
Like, if we're going to complain, let's at least attempt at a fix.
Right. So, for example, given top decks have consistency and power, what decks do you feel like are lacking? Wait, that was not the question I thought it was.
Whoops.
Do you feel that a diverse meta like we're currently in is better for the game than one with a tier 0 deck? I'm all for diversity, but when there's one best deck, it makes it easier to side or plan against. Do you think a reworking of floodgate rules, or a reworking of rules related to floodgates would make them more tolerable? Things like that. If you had to design a floodgate, oh no, we're not doing that. Not right now.
Well,
anyway.
okay. So, like, if I was to, actually, hold on. If you were to design a floodgate, my immediate thought went to redesign all the current floodgates with limits. For instance,
ooh, I like this.
For instance, goes and match, just for sake of argument. Let's just say Konami's giving us the reins, and we can do whatever we want. An example would be we could errata stuff like TC Boo, goes and match, and stuff. Errata them to where
you're better than me. I would just ban them outright.
Yeah. But like, let's say they say you can't ban them. You gotta errata them.
Boo.
Maybe okay. So like, you cannot activate this effect if you do not control. If you do not control 2 monsters.
Sure.
Something like some limitation, and then like after so many, and then like after, or like the card blows itself up during your opponent's end phase.
So like dimensional barrier, but like kind of worse.
Yes and no.
Blowing itself up during your opponent's end phase would make things worse, I think, actually, because then it's like it doesn't restrict you at all.
That's fair. Maybe. Like, I don't know. It's not one of those things where you gotta that was just like something off the top of my head, is some limiting factor on the floodgate itself.
Right.
Or maybe it blows itself up during your next end phase.
Right.
So then your opponent gets a full turn of it, you get a full turn of it, and then it's gone.
Yeah, that's something to consider.
Or in order to activate this effect, you have to pay so many life points, or to activate this card, you cannot control any monsters.
Right, all of those are various really fair ways to redo it.
You know,
We'll circle back to these actual specific questions on how to fix certain aspects of the game
later.
Right. What I really want to talk about, though, is I want to take the opportunity to overall explore the game, explore the meta, explore the internal functions of the game as we see it right now, and see if we can't find some common ground in ways that Konami can continue to design cards in ways that are interesting and interactive and powerful, yet don't promote people skipping each other's turns, right? So a good example is, I think that there are a lot of problem cards in today's format, right? You have cards like Dimensional Barrier, Harpy's Featherstorm, Anti-Spell Fragrance, Tikaboo, Mystic Mind. All of these cards that do not promote a healthy and interactive game state. They are prevalent cards in today's strategies, even things like Rivalry and Goes in Match. People are playing these cards and it's causing blowouts, but the thing is, everybody's just playing whichever floodgates hurt their deck the least.
Or completely unaffected in some cases.
Right. So, as a general whole, these cards they're just, how do I put this?
Toxic?
Yeah, that's it. They're just toxic. They don't really make the game more fun. They don't, as a whole, make the game more interactive. Because how often have you seen your opponent go full board and then set 3 and then one of them's like an anti-spell or a D-barrier? So when you're reinforcing already strong end boards with even stronger floodgates and floodgate-esque effects, then you end up in a weird situation where your opponent can't play the game, but that's kind of the goal. So I don't know. I think that the game is in a really weird state right now with floodgates and turn skippers and things like that.
Yeah.
The game is just in a really weird spot.
Where it's come to a point to where the name of the game is to make sure your opponent doesn't get to play the game.
Exactly. And I think that's a problem. So,
I mean, it's kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! Is kind of like golf now.
What do you mean? It's nothing like golf. Golf is like a physical activity that you have to like do things.
Yeah, but the name of both Yu-Gi-Oh! And golf is to play as little of it as possible.
That is fair. I do try to play as little golf as possible.
But no. When you actually play golf, it's to play as little golf as you can, because you have to get as few strokes as possible to complete the course.
I, too, try to get as few strokes as... Wait, no. I don't know. I feel like there was a joke in there somewhere, but I messed it up.
Telling on yourself like that. Jeez.
I feel like there was a joke in there somewhere, but I messed it up somehow.
It's fine. It is what it is. But yes, the game is in a situation to where you're trying to make sure that your opponent doesn't get to play the game, but you get to. We said I think we've said this like 4 or 5 times now.
Yeah, but it's true, right?
Yeah. Well,
let's look at the cards that are coming into vogue for the next format. Okay. Stygian Dirge.
Funny card. Its entire purpose is to keep Splight from doing anything. Mischief of the Gnomes.
And the band played on.
Yeah. Again, entirely designed to keep Splight from getting to play.
Deck Devastation Virus, Eradicator, Epidemic Virus.
Mm-hmm. And to a lesser extent, there's a third virus there, and I can't think of it.
There's
maybe Full Force?
No, you're thinking of Crush Card, probably.
Yeah, like the pre-errata Crush card.
Yeah, pre-errata, sure. My issue right now with Yu-Gi-Oh is that no matter what you do, the game doesn't feel very interactive most of the time.
Oh yeah, no, because I've had games even with a deck who, like, even back when I was playing Bird Up, where Bird Up's entire plan game one, like at the very start, was just put up a board that your opponent can't break and then finish them off next turn.
Right.
I've had plenty of games where it was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth on turn 0.
Right.
It's wild.
So, here's my question. How do we fix Yu-Gi-Oh?
I mean, as far as the lack of a back and forth, we have to do something about floodgates, which you've already talked about.
Right.
Yeah, like after limiting, let's just say for the sake of argument, we just straight up ban it. Ban all floodgates. Goes in. I'm talking floodgates that are continuous traps, but also floodgates that are one and done, like Dimensional Barrier or Mischief of the Gnomes.
What about things like Lancia and Droll?
Let's just say for the sake of argument, they're gone too.
Sure, I'm fine with that.
All
D-Shifter?
Gone. All 6 barrier statues gone.
Sure, I'm with it.
Yeah, the mythical 7th barrier statue never existed, but also gone. For the divine attribute.
Of course. So, okay, sure. Let's start banning all floodgates. Then what?
Then I think the game delves into just, I'm just going to hand trap the living crap out of you.
I don't even know that it does. I think it's, I don't care what you do to hand trap me. I'm still just going to combo anyway.
Yeah, I'm either just going to straight up combo anyway, or another option is just, I'm just going to put out a board that's just a bunch of negates. But
yes.
None of which are floodgates. You know, stuff like a Borlode like kind of like what
Dragon Link?
Kind of like what Dragon Link or Dino could put out, where you have like a Dolka.
Or Drytron even.
Yeah, or even Drytron. Where you have like a Dolka, a Borlode Savage, an Appaloosa.
Maybe in a Dweller.
Yeah,
no,
maybe.
Dweller's a floodgate.
Yeah, Dweller would be gone too. He's a floodgate.
Yeah, definitely.
So would Tape here. So would the terribly tired Tape here would also be gone.
Bagooska.
Listen, I love Bagooska, but I want the Lost Art Bagooska, please.
Wait, there's a different artwork of Bagooska?
Yeah, in Japan he's not tired. He's drunk.
That makes a lot of sense.
All the pillows are empty bottles of like various alcohols.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, I could see that.
Yeah. If you want to look it up real quick, go ahead. It looks really cool.
I am.
Anyway, yeah, no Bagooska. So again, you just end up with a board of a whole bunch of negates, and they just kind of attempt to floodgate you, but just with the sheer number of no's on their end. And then I think also stuff like Solemn Judgment and Solemn Strike come back into vogue as well.
Honestly, I prefer the TCG artwork. I prefer the Sleepy Boy.
I prefer the drunk boy.
I guess it's because I don't drink alcohol, so for me it doesn't really ring quite as true.
That's fair.
That is a lot of alcohol bottles though, and cans.
Yes.
That is an alcoholic.
Tape here.
Yeah, that.
Actually, I think he's supposed to be a Baku.
I mean, it's a terribly tired Tapir.
He's
Name.
He's only terribly tired in the TCG.
I think he's tired either way. Maybe the alcohol makes him tired. Makes him a sleepy boy.
Maybe.
So.
Was I thinking of Baku? Is that correct?
Okay, let's say we ban all the floodgates, right? Then what? Then what do we do past that? Because now you have an issue with too many hand traps, too much combo.
Also, it was a Baku I was thinking of.
Okay. Do we put Called by to 3?
I mean, at that point, we would have to, just to help rein in hand traps and combos. Because if you don't rein in the hand traps and the combos, you end up with a game of, did you open 4 hand traps? No? Cool. I win.
Right.
And there's nothing you can do to stop me. I win right here.
Right, because I think a lot of people don't realize that these floodgates don't just serve as limiters, but they also can serve as board breakers.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going second, you can set it, activate it next turn, your opponent either has to respond to it with a negate, or if they don't have a true negate on board, just a lot of interaction, then they have to actually
play around the newly introduced problem.
Right, exactly. Or they just have to lose their monsters entirely.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then which can then actually give you the turn you need to on the clap back. From there, OTK. But then it just becomes I'm just going to put up my turn 1 board, turn 2.
Right.
Because I can't make my OTK board through what you got.
Yeah, I don't like, to be honest with you, the idea of there being no floodgates anywhere in the game. What I would say is, while I'm fine, I would be honestly fine if Konami banned Tikaboo, Rivalry, Goes In, Anti-Spell.
Stuff like that.
Right, and maybe 1 or 2 others that don't expire, right?
Yeah, that don't have a limiting factor on them outside of it affects both players equally.
Forever.
But it's not equal.
Right.
If you're an all zombie deck and you flip Rivalry or Warlords,
right, exactly.
It does not affect you equally to your opponent. It's unfair.
Inherently.
Yeah.
So, what if we banned the highest impact ones and limited the rest? Do we worry then that they become sacky one-ofs?
Yes, because then they do become sacky one-ofs by definition, because they're one-ofs.
So is there anything that we can do to fix this problem in current TCG format without just a mass hit of the problem cards? Is there a way to targeted hit the cards that are the biggest problems?
Okay.
And leave the rest alone and hope that the situation just kind of works itself out over time?
I mean, probably what's going to happen is actually the latter, where Konami's just going to kind of let the situation work itself out over time.
I'm wondering if there is a larger, more overview of something that's happening in the game that we're missing, maybe, that allows the game to... If you look at formats that have a lot of hand traps, there's usually reasons that more hand traps are prevalent. Whereas if you look at this format with more floodgates, you have to wonder if there's a way to prevent those floodgates from happening. If there's maybe something that they can do to make it easier for people to counteract these floodgates or something like that.
I mean, my first thought is just from now on, like, if you don't do anything to floodgates, just make archetypes that can't function underneath the floodgates. So you can't have archetypes of nothing but the same type and attributes anymore. But then they can just play under Tikaboo.
What about limiting Tikaboo, Goes In, Rivalry, etc.? That way, there's still a need for back row hate.
Yeah.
Things like Twin Twisters and Cosmics.
Or we can take the chaotic approach.
Okay.
All future archetypes are all monsters full of nothing but monsters of the same type and attribute, ban Tikaboo. Because then if kind of taking a symbiote from the Incredibles approach, if everyone is special, no one is.
Yeah.
If everyone can play under those floodgates, do the floodgates still exist?
Right, I see where you're coming from. So,
but then you also then kind of hamstring yourself in the design department.
Right. I think that the game is at its best when the game is more interaction based rather than based off of, how do I say this?
I have my floodgate. Do you have an out? No. Good game, sir. I win.
Right. So the game becomes more interaction based rather than restriction based. If you look at, say, last year before the release of Burst of Destiny, and probably before the release of Synchrostorm also, you had a format that had Tri-Brigade to a certain extent, Drytron maybe to a certain extent, Virtual World, Eldritch, Altergeist, both were fairly somewhat viable decks.
Yeah, it was
a diverse and competitive format, that was heavy on interaction rather than restriction. This diverse format is diverse because so many decks can play different floodgates that help them.
Yeah.
That format was diverse,
Well,
and it wasn't as diverse, but it was diverse because it had so many different ways to interact with all of the top decks, and that's why it was cool.
Yeah. Because rather than just, I'm just going to flip the floodgates, and now you can't do this entire game mechanic, it was, okay, cool. So, for monster effects, I've got like a pop, a bounce, a spin. In my back row, I've got like 2 Omni negates, and then I have a hand trap, search negate in my hand.
Right.
As opposed to now, where it's just, I got goes in, Tikaboo, which, in that kind of with that kind of thing though, you do end up having a whoever goes first wins. Because they set up an unbreakable board.
That's not true.
However, in those kind of situations, board breakers all of a sudden become very powerful.
Sure.
Such as Alpha Master Beasts.
Droplet, Dark Ruler No More.
Yeah, Droplet, Dark Ruler No More, Pankratops.
Evenly Matched was crazy at that time. Lightning Storm, crazy.
Yeah, Harpy, and now Regeki and Harpy's Feather Duster all of a sudden become very playable.
Right, especially now that Regeki's at 3.
Yeah, because all of a sudden it's not a sack you one of to just your opponent has to use up one of their interactions or lose their board.
Right, it's a deck building decision now.
Yeah.
Whereas let's look at the decks that are popular in this format and some of the cards that they use to control the game state, right?
Okay.
So let's start with the one that everybody hates, Fluanderees.
Yeah, they can function under Rivalry Warlords, no problem, because they're all winged beasts.
Sure.
They don't special summon, so they can run special summon based floodgates, no problem.
Well, the bigger ones that people are really upset about is Dimension Shifter.
Yeah, I was about to say.
And also Harpy's Featherstorm.
Yeah, again, because they're all winged beasts.
And both of those cards are just insane. Just absolute blowouts that are turn enders.
To be fair, Harpy's Featherstorm was created in a time where a winged beast only archetype just wasn't
viable.
It was a way to attempt to make people actually want to bother playing stuff like Harpies.
Sure, and it's meant to be a good Harpy card, and I get that. But the issue is, it becomes a good card for
any deck that's a winged beast based.
Right.
Yeah, like even back with Bird Up, I considered running it in Tri-Brigade Lyrilusk.
A lot of people did.
Because I'm like 90% winged beast.
All right, so let's make the first hits here. A ban of Featherstorm and a limit of D-Shifter.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I mean, because then it becomes, D-Shifter then becomes a Saki one-of, but it becomes a Saki one-of that you can now interact with.
Right.
Because now it's not, activate D-Shifter. Oh no, I'm going to activate, let's just say for the sake of argument, Call by the Grave.
Sure.
Okay, D-Shifter again?
Pretty much.
Because I've had that happen.
Well, I mean, if its effect is negated, its effect is negated.
Well, no, because then they just kind of go, cool, pass, D-Shifter, again.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Here's my thing about the... I don't know. Yeah. What about Called By? People complain so much about Called By. Honestly, I would be a big fan of Called By being banned, if we're being honest.
I actually feel the opposite about Called By. I just really like Called By as a tool, because it's not just a no to hand traps. It can also be used offensively, and it can also be used defensively.
Yeah, that's the issue.
That's why I like it.
Yeah, but that's the issue. It's that powerful, and it shuts off the card until the end of the next turn.
That's fair. It is kind of floodgatey in that sense.
It's too powerful from an interaction standpoint.
You know what they need to do?
Ban it,
and then reprint another card with its same effect, but it only negates the monster it banishes effect. It doesn't like let's say your opponent
it only banishes that copy's effect.
Correct.
Oh.
And then I think there would be fair to put it at 3. Because
we could just do the OCG approach,
which is
Call by it 2, cross out at 2.
I could feel that. Well, The thing is, people are. The thing about the TCG is that because back when Nobleman Crossout Designator was at 3 over in the OCG, people were playing at 3.
Right.
How many people are actually playing Crossout Designator over here in the TCG?
Literally nobody.
Yeah. So even if you do that, people are just gonna go, cool. I have a second call by now. Thanks.
Pretty much. Wow. Also, Crossout Designator. That's crazy. $28.
Yeah.
No meta play at all.
Yep. Because it's a really good card. But what I like about Crossout Designator specifically is that it actually self-limits itself.
Yeah.
It doesn't negate for the entire turn.
Honestly, I think that we could just ban Call By because of the existence of Crossout.
Yeah, because then people would actually bother playing Crossout.
It's not only that, but
then
Crossout honestly does what Call By needs to do. But in some ways it does it better, and in some ways it's a lot fairer because you have to have those cards in your deck. Yeah,
and then if it's a sack you one of, you're going to try and negate. You have to not have, you lose that sack you one of.
Right.
In exchange for your opponent not having it as well. For instance, your opponent activates, so let's say you have a bunch of back row and your opponent activates the Harpy's Feather Duster to blow it all out. You can go, do I let it resolve, or do I spend my Harpy's Feather Duster to stop their Harpy's Feather Duster?
Right.
It's kind of like a counterspell situation from Pathfinder in there, where if I want to stop my opponent there from doing a spell, I have to spend the same spell to do it.
Right.
It then then you have a whole lot of mind games and do I don't I with the second one ofs. And then for the 3 ofs, it's well, that reduces my count in my deck to 2.
Right.
So now there's I'm less likely to actually draw the thing.
Yes. I think that there's a couple of different ways that we could go about fixing Yu-Gi-Oh! I think that something should be done about floodgates. Mystic Mind should be banned.
Definitely. Mystic Mind needs to go.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for a long... Listen. Somebody suggested to me that I play Mystic Mind and Dino, and I was like, no.
But it's really good.
It's really good. I refuse to do it.
Yeah, whenever you have decks like Sky Striker getting first at YCSs and second at Nationals... Because of Mystic Mind's existence, there's a problem there, big fella.
There's a huge problem.
Yeah. All right, so do you want to do some mailbag?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. I think we've rambled on enough about this.
Sure. For the mailbag though, we're gonna try to kind of blow through some of the answers. Yeah. I know that people want to hear stuff long and explained in a long way, but
very expository.
Yes, but we're gonna kind of blow through them. So, let's start the Discord server because
they take priority.
Yeah. Should Pankratops stay limited? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
What drives you in the game? Is it a drive to get better or more towards your content? For me, my drive is, while I love the podcast and enjoy the podcast, my number one priority is being better at the game and winning at the game. Because one, it feels good to win. Let's just be honest here. It feels good to win. And two, I would be lying to you if I sat here and told you that winning helps the podcast too. You know?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of both.
For me personally, it's a little column A, a little column B, a little column C. Column C being hee shiny cardboard with pretty pictures.
Yeah. Called by the Grave, should it be banned, semi-limited, or unlimited, and why? Banned for reasons I talked about earlier.
Yeah, I kind of like where it's at, personally.
I don't like how sacky it is, and I think it's one of the biggest blowout cards in the game right now.
It can be. It certainly can be.
Yeah. Let's see. One Piece community One Piece is commonly referenced as having 1,000 episodes / chapters. Can you name another anime with 1,000 episodes?
Ooh.
I think if you combine Naruto, Shippuden, and Boruto, it's right there around 1,000 episodes.
What? I immediately pictured an anime that's been around longer than One Piece. It's been around longer than Astro Boy. and as Rye's about to say it, I forgot it, so I'm going to look it up. 1 second.
Sure. Do you say ours and ours, ours and ours, or oars and ours? Not gonna lie, that question kind of confuses me.
Saze-san.
Never heard of it.
Oh, it's, let's see. It has 7,701 episodes.
Oof. Oh, I know of an anime that has more episodes than One Piece by a lot. They have like 4,800 episodes.
What's that?
Sesame Street.
It's not an anime, though.
Yeah, yes, it is. What are you talking about? Sesame Street is like the best anime of all time. All right. Would the game be any different if we had one banned list for the TCG and OCG? Yeah, it would be way different.
Oh my god!
Unless they just made the OCG adapt to our ban list, which would never happen.
No. I mean, because then we have Max C back. By the way, Saze-san's been running constantly since 1946.
Jeez. Do you think a reworking of rules related to floodgates would make them more tolerable? Potentially, depending on the rule reworking. I think if you were limited to having, say, 4 floodgates in your main and side deck combined, would be pretty cool.
Or even like have a floodgate tag. So like on a trap card, it would say like continuous trap, and then like kind of like how monsters say spellcaster effect, it would say like floodgate, and you're only allowed to run one play set of floodgates.
Right. What changes to the ban list would make the game healthier? Specifically, what cards could come off the list to 1 or go back to 3? I say wind-up carriers and Meity is my pick.
As long as they ban Hunter.
No, leave Hunter. That's fine.
Really?
Yeah, it's super susceptible to hand traps.
That is fair.
Yeah. OCG has... Well, Hunter is banned in the OCG, but they have kept Zenmaity at 3.
Well, not only that, they also have Max C, so if your opponent Max C's the start of the combo, you can't hand rip them.
Right.
But I think you can actually deck them out on that. No. The wind-up loop isn't infinite.
What's a good card that, when sent to the graveyard, pops a spell or trap? To give context, I want to use Beatrice to send a card to grave to pop Scythe on my opponent's turn. I don't think that exists, I'll be honest.
Vajra. Artifact Vajra.
No way. Does that just happen to do that when this card is sent to the graveyard?
I think. I'm looking it up.
That would be broken if it was. What was the reasoning of Summon Sorceress being banned? Something to do with Link monsters and it being a crazy Link monster. I honestly don't know.
Wait, what card?
Summon Sorceress.
Oh, yeah.
Something to do with like
Artifact,
you linking or something.
Vajra.
Magic? Yu-Gi-Oh.
Here it is. Okay. So if it's set in the spell and trap zone and gets popped on the spell and trap zone, it special summons itself and then destroys all your opponent's spells and traps.
Okay. If Sunny and Caleb could be Yu-Gi-Oh characters, who would they be and why? I would be Jade and Yugi because we have the same personality. Electric. Fired up. All the time.
Oh, you mean the English dub of Jaden.
Yeah.
Got it. He's
kind of
completely different in the Japanese dub.
But also kind of has a dark side, you know. Hey.
Sorry.
You're making the audio peak, bro.
Sorry. Oh, for me, I want to say I would probably be more like, what was the dude's name?
I don't know.
Yuya, I think? The main character from Arc V?
I'm not even going to pretend to know.
But I'm probably more like Weevil.
Let's be honest here. You're more like a Rex Raptor. Who will make the Super Bowl? Saints Bengals. Let's go.
No comment.
Totally awesome. One of the best name localizations or one of the worst? I love it.
It's totally awesome.
True. Do you feel a diverse meta like we're currently in is better for the game than one with a tier 0 deck? I'm all for diversity, but when there's one best deck, it makes it easier to decide or plan against. Personally, I like a square or pentagon format where there's like 4 or 5 decks.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Goatee archetype? Personally, I think with a couple solid cards, it could be a tier 1 or 2 deck.
Easily.
Yes.
Easily.
I don't know easily, but yes. If you had to design a floodgate type card yourself, what would it do? Bonus points for a cool card name. Let's see. They already did most of them.
I've got an idea for one.
Sure.
I'm calling it for now Millennium Wall.
Okay.
And then basically your opponent cannot declare attacks with monsters above a certain threshold, and so kind of like a what's that wall of revealing light?
Yeah.
But like without the cost.
So Wall of Revealing Light, but even better.
But also
a card that's already limited, but better.
But also worse because the threshold would be like, I don't know, 2,000, 1,500 maybe.
Nothing above that can attack, or below that?
Nothing below can declare an attack.
I've got a funny one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a floodgate called the American Healthcare System, and its effect is that neither player can gain life points above 8,000. Alright, given top decks have consistency and power, what decks do you feel are lacking just slightly on one side, i.e. which decks have the consistency needed at the top but not the power level, and vice versa?
That's a good question.
It really is. I think Beat Troopers have the consistency, they just don't have the power ceiling.
That's fair. That's fair. They don't have the same, like the OCGB Troopers have a much higher power ceiling than here in the TCG.
Not really.
They can search Max C.
That doesn't give them a high power ceiling.
Fair. But it gives them ridiculous. As far as like has a high power ceiling but doesn't have like enough consistency, I would probably give that one to probably Fish right now, actually.
Maybe.
The Goatee Archetype.
Yeah. Europe and Oceania have their big championships soon with Power of the Elements legal. Seeing the new cards in Power of the Elements and some surprise imports. What will the meta look like? What will the meta look like? Will Goatee do something? Not in my opinion.
I think we'll probably see one like Goatee plus like Goatee, but like as a supplementary engine in another deck.
Potentially.
Maybe like a Shark deck. There'll probably be like one in top 64, and then that's where it gets stocked out for some reason. Mostly due to somebody would have just thrown it together, and it's like, I kind of know how it works.
Yeah. Is Morphtronic FTK a viable option? No, not without the Duke Devlin cards.
It's hilarious.
Is Gem Knight FTK back in business? No, also not.
No.
Would Konami offering cash support motivate you to practice, play, or travel to events more often? Yes.
Yeah, because then if you're good enough, you can literally have the hobby pay for itself.
Right. Which cards unbanning would make you most question your life's decision up to that point? Man, that's a
good question.
What card would make you question life?
That's actually a really tough one. I would probably say maybe Colossus.
I'm gonna pull up the ban list because it's just easier.
Yeah. So it's like right there in front of us.
Yeah.
Ancient
Let's
Fairy.
See. Ancient Fairy, I don't actually think would be that crazy. Honestly, True King of All Calamities.
Oh yeah, no.
That card would just make me question life.
Oh my god,
it was legal.
Yeah, VFD was. I've only ever been VFD'd once.
What? There was a whole format of it.
Yeah, I wasn't playing during it.
Oh, Magical Scientist also. Any of those old, broken, not once per turn cards, really.
Yeah.
So, all right, that'll wrap it up for today's episode of the Top Cut Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. Like I said, if you want to help support us, please be sure to check out our TCG Player and Dragon Shield affiliate links down below, as well as our Patreon. Also, be sure to check out Team Dark Arm Dealings, ETB Games, Millennium Threads, and all of the other wonderful things that we've talked about in today's episode. So, with all of that said, thank you all so much for listening, and until next time, have a great week.
Take care, everybody.